Hello, and welcome to Final Boss Fight. My name is Jeff, and once again I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore as we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep. I am joined by our intrepid band of investigators. I'm joined by Kieran.
Hello.
I'm joined by Robin.
Hiya.
I'm joined by Brian Croy Dragon.
Hello.
I'm joined by the quest giver Ben.
Greetings. Good to see you.
And Kieran, I believe you're giving us the recap for the last session, so take it away.
Allegedly, yes. Well, it was quite a short session last time because we were in the trenches with technical issues, more so than usual. But yeah, we went to whilst Professor Metz was away back at Arkham, he had a chat with his Australian friend, who was a lecturer in Aboriginal studies, and he played a bit of that lecture to me, which was talking about a religious sect in the Marshall Islands, which is all about bats, I think, and snakes. So that was just a little bit of flavour to set the evening. Definitely won't come up later. We went to the will reading, where the lawyer, Carlton Ramsey, basically told us that Jackson Elias has set up like a little fund to help us in our investigations. So within reason, we have access to funds which should help us with any investigations that we have. After that, we went to Lester Goodman's antique shop, where Flint showed us a book about Egyptology, and Sullivan and Locke demanded that we buy a Sphinx of Black Quartz, which had symbols on it, which sort of referred to like guardians. Denver put the squeeze on him, and he did lower the price, but I could tell he wasn't actually scared of him. He was just sort of playing along. On the car ride as we left, we saw that the Sphinx had some numbers had appeared in its belly, and who was it who got it? Was it Ben? You figured out what that meant, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a bit of spare time at work today. But yeah, we figured. I say generally we probably figured it out because, let's face it, you found the clues. I just ended up putting a lot of it together.
Had slightly more spare time than I did.
And what was the message?
You say that I only just got on today.
Yeah, Jeff had been saying we were so close, Kieran.
Yeah, and I just got super busy. I was like, I don't have brain power for this.
It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
And what was the message?
They are alive.
I'm sure that's not going to mean anything. So, thank you very much for that. Shall we carry on immediately where we left off last time? I'm going to move to the New York map, and you will find your characters in the lower right section of the map. I just need to move the...
New York, New York.
It's weird that they named it twice.
So, carrying on from where we left off last time, you make your way to the offices of Prospero House Publishing, which is location 14. I'm just pinging it on the map here. Location 14 in South Manhattan. You've been advised by Carlton Ramsey to speak to Jonah Kensington, who is Jackson Elias's publisher. Apparently Jackson Elias left some letters and notes with him, so it's useful to see what he has to say. It's probably about 6 o'clock, getting on for 6:30, I'd say, by the time you arrive at Prospero House Publishing. And it's a very modest looking office, just like a small office block, certainly nothing as tall as the famous office blocks in New York. Probably about 2 floors, 3 floors at most. You enter the offices, and there is a receptionist at the desk. Oh, good evening, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Well, we are associates of Mr. Elias, and we heard that he had some notes and so on that he had left behind. We were hoping that we would be able to take a look at them.
Oh, one moment, please. And she
Okay.
phone goes, Mr. Kensington, Jackson Elias's friends are here. Shall I send them up? Very good, sir. You can go up. Mr. Kensington will meet you in his office. Up the stairs, first door on the left.
Don't know why I was expecting that to be a little harder.
You go up, the
Sounded like they were expecting us, perhaps.
Yes,
I suppose that makes sense.
Mr. Ramsey phoned ahead to let him know you were coming.
Okay.
The office itself, Johnny Kensington meets you at the office. The office itself is somewhat fairly modest, fairly sparse. There's a large oak desk, series of chairs. There's a notepad, blotter, telephone. Behind him there's a shelves of books, some of them their own publications. There's a cigar case on the desk, and there's another of those familiar globes in the corner, the wooden globes that open up, and there's bottles inside. And Johnny Kensington, yes, welcome, gentlemen. Mr. Locke, Mr. Sullivan, we met at the funeral the other day. It's good of you to come, and I believe this is Mr. Smith and Mr. Metz. Oh, sorry, Professor Metz. Mr. Ramsey did tell me that.
Thank you.
Please, sit down. Can I get you a drink? I've got bourbon, sherry, whiskey.
How are you spelling that whiskey?
Well, I know that the common parlance around here is to spell it with an E, but I found the traditional Scotch stuff so much better.
Now you're a man after me heart. Pour us a glass in.
Same for all of you?
Make that 2.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll have 2 glasses.
Aye, that's what I meant.
He goes over and gets 5 whiskey glasses and pours out whiskey shots and gives them to each of you. He goes, well, gentlemen, I'm sure this has been said already, but
Where's my second?
I'm sure this has been said already, but I do wish it could have been under better circumstances. To Jackson.
To Jackson.
To Jackson.
May I offer any of you a cigar?
No, thank you. Call me strange, but I don't smoke.
Oh, they say it's good for you. Strengthens
I'll
the
take
lungs.
one.
Okay.
I find it fogs the senses.
Go on. I'll let you finish.
Well, then it comes down to you only live once. Only thing that matters is what you do in it.
He picks up the ornate wooden box on his desk, opens it up, and there's some fine cigars inside. So he offers you one, Denver. He takes one for himself. Allow me, and he takes out a matchbox and lights it for you. And as he does so, Denver, you notice that the matchbox looks, well, it's not really a matchbox that you've designed that you've seen before. The image on it is predominantly reddish orange in colour, and there's the picture of a snarling cat, black snarling cat on the front of it.
What
Would
kind?
Would it ring any bells to me at all?
A picture of it here, actually, just to show you. You've got a high enough.
Chat Noir? Oh no.
The Stumpling Tiger. What kind of establishment might that one be?
Jonah looks down in surprise. I should put his picture up, really. I'm going to put his picture up. Bear with me one moment. Here he is.
Well, he's a
Jonah
bit
Ken-
creepy looking.
Jonah Kensington, as you say that, he looks down in surprise and goes, "Oh, this? Oh, I think Jackson must have left this here when he came to see me. I suppose actually that's why you're here, isn't it?" Sits down. Well, I suppose you got questions. Feel free to ask them.
What was it that Mr. Elias was working on most recently?
Ah. One moment, and he pulls out a drawer from his desk, and he pulls out a manila folder, like one of those black manila folders out. So he opens it up. Jackson, he seemed different when he came back from Peru. I understand some of you were in Peru with him a few years ago.
Yes.
All of us were.
Not me.
Right. Most of us were.
He, as part of his book, he became interested in Augustus Larkin, if you remember him.
Mhm.
I definitely remember the Larkin.
Yes.
Oh, the
Strange sluggy guy.
professor?
I don't know whether I would call him that. Maybe more a snake.
Or a maggot.
Aye.
Definitely a maggot.
Something which crawls on his belly, to say the least. Anyway.
Yeah,
He had
Anyway,
we had black
Larkin,
eyes from
you
what I
say?
remember.
Ah, he did.
yeah. Jackson wanted to. He finished his book, The Hungry Dead, but he wanted to. He wasn't satisfied with the work about Larkin. He wanted to try and find out a bit more, maybe see if there's another book out of it. And he worked his way. Well, he left for London and Paris, and then he worked his way over to Kenya. He had a connection to the name The Cult of the Bloody Tongue.
That
And-
name sounds familiar.
Yes, we've been tracking their work.
Oh, then this. Well, you may like to know that Jackson found something. He sent me a letter in August last year.
Hey.
Professor Metz, would you like to read this one out, please?
August 8th, 1924. Dear Jonah, big news. There is possibility that not all of the members of the Carlyle Expedition died. I have a lead. Though the authorities have denied the cult angle, the natives sing a different tune. You would not believe the stories. Some juicy notes coming your way. This will make us all rich. Blood and kisses, Jay. And that was sent from Nairobi.
Yes. And I received the notes as he promised a couple of days later. I've got them here. And he hands you. It's a sheaf of papers, but there's a cover sheet as well which describes what's in them. I think Flint, could you read this one out, please?
Hang on. Just give me a second.
Yeah, I'm just
Making notes.
the same.
Author submission summary 8th for the 8th, 24. Author Elias Jackson. Summary by Kenneth Newton. Received 22nd of September 1924. Submission title untitled. Notes regarding African death cults sent from Nairobi, Kenya. Description. Notes were received in 8 separate groupings. Set 1. 4 pp. Documents meetings taken by J.E. with various officials in Kenyan government. Judiciary? And tribal leaders. J.E. met with during his time in Kenya seems affronted by a response given by Roger Corridon, Kenya's colonial Undersecretary for Internal Affairs. No new or relevant information provided. J.E. clearly dissatisfied with official version documenting the massacre of the Carlyle Expedition. Nothing conclusive. J.E. states intent to meet with tribal leaders from Kikuyu, Masi, and Namba Nandi tribes. Embu, Meru, Mbire. This section unclear. Set 2. 6 pp. Describes his journey to site of Carlyle massacre. Location described in very vague terms, as if he doesn't want anyone reading notes to easily find it. J.E. very struck by the fact that site of massacre is entirely barren, nothing alive. Tribesmen who led him there claim the place is cursed by the god of the Black Wind, whose home is near a nearby mountaintop. The site would seem to be in Adabare region. Set 3. 17 pp. J.E. met with Kenyan nationalist revolutionary Johnston Kenyatta. According to Kenyatta, Carlyle murders may have been carried out by a cult, the Bloody Tongue. Kenyatta says cult is reportedly based in the mountain that height priest is part of the Mountain of Black Wind Sick. J.E. of opinion that Kenyatta is a reasonable man whose political ambitions are far less dangerous than the ambitions of the Bloody Tongue. Set 4. 8 pp. These notes appear to be follow-up to Kenyatta interview. Neither set is dated individually. J.E. asserts his sources, good ones, assert that the Bloody Tongue really exists. No first-hand evidence. One source told of children stolen for sacrifice, and creatures with great wings coming down from the Mountain of Black Wind to carry people off. To where? J.E. notes that god of this cult does not appear in documented folklore, and does not cleave to patterns traditional to African cults. J.E. notes having questioned Sam Mariga railway station, Neville German, Dr. Starrett, Lieutenant Selkirk, and Captain Endicott as persons questioned, but provides no details from information provided by any of them. Additional notes missing? Oh, is this... No, that's just what we've had before. Yeah.
And Jonah carries on and says, after Kenya, Elias went to China. He seemed to have some lead in China, in Hong Kong. He wired me from Hong Kong to say that things are going well, that he'd found some leads there. He said something about he said something about a boat, but he didn't really specify on it. Then I heard from him after that from London in the middle of last year, December. But I don't know, he seemed a changed person. It was very excited and a bit crazy sounding. Jackson said he'd been in London for a few days and he dug up a lot of stuff, and something about a conspiracy or monstrous worldwide proportions. He said something about a timetable and missing pieces. He said he would have to go to Australia at some point, but he didn't want to explain more. I don't know what he found, but it seemed to have unhinged his mind. Last thing he said to me was that he'd be in New York shortly, and he did. He met with me on the 13th of January, and he handed me his final set of notes from London. And, well, I think you better read them for yourself. Ben, I'd like you to read this one. Take a few moments, but I'd like you to read this one.
December 16th, 1924. Many names, many faces, but all the same and toward one end. Like a collection of masks. What face is the real one? Is there a real one? And what's underneath? Need help. Contact everyone in New York. They're everywhere. More people on our side, and no cops though. I've got men on the inside, and they are inside everywhere I've been. Military? Probably the same thing. So much power at stake. Lurking inside like cancer. The librarian has the answers. if they don't gutter like a fish. Too big, too ghastly. These nightmares, these dreams, like Carlyle's. He's gotten inside my head. In my head. Head. Crazy. I call a head shrinker and check the psychoanalyst files. What if they're the same? Am I becoming him? Can't be. All of them survived. They'll open the gate. Why? What's in it for them? Do they think they're doing something else? The great deceiver. The power and the danger is real. Who is the real evil here? All of them. Some of them pawns. Who is the Grand Master? Pawn's sacrifice is the safest move. Direct attack against the Black King would be insane. Ha! As if that would stop whomever. Impossible to play to a draw. Many threads beginning unraveled. The books are in Carlyle's safe. Did he use them? He must have known. Coming for me. Will the ocean protect? Fact chance. They're at work everywhere. I've been, surely. They're in New York too. Immigrants. Chinatown, Harlem, Bronx, out to get me, out to bury the secret. Need allies. Endangering everyone. No quitters now, far too late for that. I should have quit long ago. A fool's crusade. Shine a light into the dark and must tell and must make readers believe. Should I scream for them? Let's scream together.
What date is it in game right now?
It is the evening of the 19th of January.
25.
Yes.
Wow, okay, so this is like a month later.
What month?
January. This is January 1925.
Can I do a psychology roll? See what I can glean about his...
On whom are you doing a psychology roll?
On Jackson Alliance. Like, what can I glean about his mental state here? Is
Okay.
if somebody... You know, like, my first instinct, this is somebody who's undergoing paranoia. But can I get anything more from reading this?
Prefer if you have it.
Looking at it.
If you have it, I prefer psychoanalysis.
Oh yeah, I have. That's better. That's way better than my psychology. So. Ooh, so that is a 5 against 70.
Wow, that's very good. You're reading these notes. You're listening to these notes being read, and this does not sound like the man you knew. This does not sound like the Jackson Elias you knew.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, it changed him in a fundamental way. Whatever happened.
And comparing this.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just gonna comparing this to the note from Nairobi, which was very sincere and sane. Would you say that it's fair to assume that whatever sort of broke him, I guess, might have happened in China?
Possibly China, possibly even London. It's definite at some point between Nairobi and coming to New York.
Yeah.
Writing these notes, something changed and broke Jackson Elias completely.
What do we make of
Curious
these,
about that picture, though.
The pictograph, yes. You are quite the code breaker. Maybe we put our heads together.
Aye. Well, sure can have a crack anyway. We'll just start scribbling a version of that one down.
I don't know if there's anything to it. As much as I hate to speak ill of Jackson Elias, these sound like the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah.
I have spoke to many mad men in my time. Especially a few who seem too many things that they may not wish to have seen. And there's one thing which is generally true amongst them all. They might be rambling, but there might be something connected to it. You never ignore what is being said, written, or done. Do so, you might as well throw your life away.
What about the rest of you?
Is that just the symbol of the bloody tongue?
Well, with what we've been through and with the various mysterious things recorded throughout history, who are we to judge?
Aye.
Jonas is quiet for a moment and he says, the one thing that did stick out to me in that was that reference to Carlyle's safe.
Aye, I was thinking on that one too. Even if it is just for the sake of the books on the inside, I'd like to try and find that safe.
Well, I may be able to help you there. Carlyle's sister, Erica, is in town. You may remember her from the newspaper reports at the time. She's the one who went out to Nairobi when her brother went missing. She has... the Carlyle estate is over in Westchester. Maybe worth trying to get... If you want to, it might be worth trying to get an appointment to speak to Miss Carlyle.
Aye. For the sake that I'm not very well travelled around this part. Around any of America, to be brutally honest. Stumbling Tiger. Not saying that a lot of that's written in English. Would that happen to be somewhere around? Is it something which you recognise?
It's not a club I recognise, but Jackson gave it to me, left it here when he saw me the other day. He said he got it from Shanghai.
Oh, Shanghai. Can't help but feel it might be connected to something. Especially if he's leaving it. That goes to show reason.
Can you all... I'm going to try... Can you all make me idea rolls, actually?
Mm-hmm.
Idea rolls.
Intelligence.
That's just intelligence, isn't it?
That is just
Yeah.
intelligence, yep.
Nope. That's a regular success, 43 out of 45.
Okay.
Also a regular success for Professor
Regular
Matt.
success.
I never... It's a failure. It's an 81 versus 70.
Oh no, but I think the others saw you through. I'll take Professor Metz. On hearing that the matchbox came from Shanghai, your mind suddenly flashes to the photograph you found in Jackson's apartment.
Right, I remember. Yes, those little sloops.
I'll just leave that with you. I'll just leave that thought with you.
I'm wondering if well, it's in English. I'm wondering if I know of any, I don't know, franchise in Chinatown, maybe. I assume New York has a Chinatown at this point.
Probably. It was in the 20s.
To be fair, they're immigrants coming all over. There's a chance they probably would have made one for themselves if they haven't got one already.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say though that looking at that photo, you believe it may actually been taken in Shanghai.
Oh, interesting.
Jonas says, "Is there anything else, gentlemen? I do have other work to do. it's been a pleasure to meet you, and I'll see about getting an appointment with Erica Carlyle for you as soon as I can.
When you saw Mr. Elias the other day, how did he seem himself? Did he seem disturbed at all?
He seemed... If I didn't know him any better, I would have said he seemed frightened.
Hmm.
He visited me, he visited Carlton. As if he wanted to make sure that... He thought that something was coming, and he wanted to make sure that whatever it was would die with him.
Hmm.
I don't know. He wasn't. He didn't. He seemed a lot different from the friend that I knew.
I'm sorry.
Now, if you'll excuse me, gentlemen, I do need to wrap up for the day.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
So, if there is nothing
So,
else,
what is the plan next? What
Do we
other
want
leads do
to-
we have?
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to like sit down and sort of debrief on what we just learned?
I think it's not a bad idea.
Well, can I suggest a place with a bit of green? All these buildings are starting to get a bit too cramped in for me.
You can go sit in the park.
Aye. I was going to suggest the library, but we can do the park for now.
So, my next question is, what leads do we have? We have, obviously, Miss Carlyle. We have the person who's been framed for all the murders that have been going around, who's been locked up and still getting accused of these murders. Didn't we talk to some reporter, Tim?
Yes, let's see, what was the name?
I'm trying to remember myself.
Rebecca Schoenberg.
Yes.
Didn't she say that we might want to talk to his wife?
Yes, we should go and do that.
That could potentially get us to talk to those people in the bar in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to
Well,
think
where
what
should
else
we...
we've got. And I think
Yeah.
Trying to think it through as well.
and
Just looking through, seeing what we have.
What did the Sphinx say?
we
They
also
are
have-
alive.
They
we
are
also
alive.
had a place that's known for its African folklore.
Yes, that's right. There was a sort of
Juju House, which is owned by
yeah.
Silas and Kwane.
Well remembered. Yes, Silas and Kwame. And tell him Lemming sent us. Lemming was the... No. Sorry, my cat is digging her claws into my bare leg.
You're not paying her enough attention, that's why.
Yeah, she's a little attention machine. She just is a nuisance when I'm not paying attention to her. I'm trying to remember how we knew Lemming.
Are you asking?
I'm just looking at my notes.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
For information,
I would definitely like to.
So, for information, Dr. Mordecai Lemming was a hint given to you by Lieutenant Poole, who was the
Yes, that's
officer
right.
in
Yeah.
the officer in charge of Jackson's murder.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr.
Right.
Lemon.
Poole said we're not to trust, was it Captain Robson? Thinks he might be corrupt.
Yes, and that corroborates what Jackson Elias was saying in his insane ramblings.
This is something which I'm trying to figure out. Jackson Elias will. Do we know when that was written?
That's a good question.
Because going by the insane ramblings before to a rather sensible will doesn't make sense to me.
The editor said that he saw his lawyer like the week he died, so it would be really, really recent, I assume.
Well, this is the thing when it comes down to it. So, where did Jackson die?
In his hotel room.
Hmm.
Because his notes are from London.
He died
That's
in
where
his...
his insane ramblings have come from London. He's
Hmm.
then come over. And he's written something which does not seem to be so crazy.
I see what you mean.
And what is the current date, by the way?
19th of January. Not January the 19th.
Yeah.
January the 19th.
Yeah. So we're talking just over a month, I suppose.
Maybe he had a moment of clarity.
Potentially.
Or the
Something's
opposite.
obviously happened along there, in which case it really makes me wonder whether maybe there's a bit more information in that will that we're not fully read into yet. And obviously we've gone over and we've gained the details and such, and it's still unraveling.
Yeah, I mean, this was a paranoid mind. I would not put it past him to start putting codes into things.
Exactly. The fact that when it comes down to not asking you to finish my book, do we have his book?
What was it called? The Something Dead?
Creeping Death, Black Death, Red Death.
I think he might just want us to continue on his investigation.
Oh, no. I get that he wants us to continue with the investigation. But if I was going to try and put in a little note, something that would gain a bit of interest, I want to know what he's written so far. And I don't know if we've actually got our hands on his book so far. We certainly found notes, we've been given information. And I'm half wondering whether maybe his book happens to be in that safe. Once again, a part of the ramblings.
I mean, why would Miss Carlyle have managed to get a copy of his book? If anywhere, it would have been his publisher, I would have thought.
Books are in Carlyle's safe. Did he use them? I mean, I could be going on and running off on the ramble, but what if Jackson Elias did find something big, like he said? It's already started being written down. The others didn't want that one going out. I think, don't get me wrong, I think we need to take a look in that safe regardless of whether his book's in there or not. But if it's not, I want to know where his book's got to. Because I'm getting very interested right now on such a fluctuating character.
You were going to say something, Metz?
Head Shrinker.
Aye.
He says, call Head Shrinker and check that psychoanalyst's files. What if we're the same? I think we're the same. I presume she's talking about Carlyle, but Head Shrinker, isn't that an sort of magical tradition shrinking the heads of your enemies. You know, you scalp them, and then you
I've
put them
certainly heard
around.
stories about that.
Can I do some sort of a roll to see if I know anything about that?
Make that. I think I'll make that a education roll, please. Knowledge roll.
Okay.
Could
I'm
I
good
also have a
education.
crack at that?
Yep, you can make a crack at that education roll, please.
Yeah, I'll
Can I
do that.
make
Yeah.
Ah,
an argument for theology?
Oh.
It is I believe it's a religious practice.
I don't think you need to worry because Tim Sullivan. You remember that head shrinker is a colloquial term for psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Who's that psychoanalyst then?
That's a damn good question.
Who's the person getting in Elias's head?
Who is a psychiatrist?
I wonder if I could ask around at the university or something to figure that out.
Oh, yeah, that's a damn good thing to search.
I will say that if you're asking who the psychoanalyst is, and if it's the same psychoanalyst that Carlyle had, his sister might know.
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
So we need to go and take a look and find out about the safe for one, and two, about the psychoanalyst. Right. In the meantime, I am going to do a quick mute and run off to go and powder me nose. I'll be back in a second.
Minute break.
Right. Do we want to?
Yeah,
do we want to stick together or split back?
I'll wait for Ben to return. I'll wait for Ben to return quickly before we carry on with the next bit.
You know what? I think I would quite like to. I think I'd like to go to that juju shop, and I think I'd like to also go chat to Carlyle's sister. So maybe we might as well just stick together.
Yeah, I want to check out
do.
the Juju house too. It's it's the second most recent note I have in my document.
Mm.
And I'll probably want to at some point talk to Mrs. Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Adams? Is that right?
Yes. Yep. Okay, so what I'll say is, as you're leaving the park, returning to your hotel, you see someone standing in front of you wearing a policeman's uniform. Well, what do we have here? Some out-of-towners who think they can poke their nose in where they're not wanted.
Robson, I assume.
Ah, you've heard of me. Well, I've definitely heard of you. I've definitely heard of you. Some folks nosing around Harlem and what doesn't concern them. Well, my job is to keep the peace.
And how are you doing that?
Please. By solving crime, by enforcing the law, of course, like any lawman would do.
And what laws do you say are you accusing us of breaking? As far as I'm aware, we've not caused any trouble.
I'm not accusing you of breaking any laws. I'm just here with some friendly advice for some out-of-towners. Be careful how you go. New York is a dangerous city. I'm sure you've seen the newspapers. I'd hate to see something happen to our esteemed guests.
We'll have no trouble there. We're rather well acquainted.
That's all I wanted to say. Just mind how you go.
And the same to you there, officer. May you have a good day.
Flint is giving him a good, cooled, hard stare.
Yes, a good day to you.
I want to kind of go out with a handshake and just try and apply a bit of dominance in a handshake.
Opposed strike.
Yes, a good day to you too, officer, and don't poke your nose in anything out. You shouldn't be. And then under his breath, Tim just says, "You proboscis monkey."
And he just nods and says, "You have a good evening now you're here."
You too, officer.
And he walks
You
away.
too.
He walks away into the darkness, and you see two other burly figures like emerge from the shadows and follow him.
I was going to say, as he's walking away, you can see everyone can kind of see Flint just his hands twitching right by his gun.
Well, it's good for your health, that won't be. Well,
What's that, Kieran?
I said it's good to know that our tax dollars are hard at work.
well, maybe I have no idea.
I'm not an American citizen, so
I'm a visitor.
Hey,
And to
taxes.
be fair, when it comes down to it, I've had worse rundowns. That guy's a puppy. But it's got a very distinct scent to him. I'm sure we'll smell him a mile off.
I did not like him.
Oh, don't worry. I get a sense that we're going to have some fun with him later. For the time, we just hold ourselves. Hold that damn gun as well.
I love that for completely different reasons, none of our characters give a shit about this guy. Oh, scary. I'm literally not from this country.
I was going to say, you just hear Flint mutter under his breath, "I miss Loretta."
Like, that man's never killed a panther. That man's never been to a pub in Scotland. Like,
Just wait till I give him a Glasgow kiss.
And as you're muttering and grumbling about him, you make your way back to your hotel, the Waldorf Astoria, I believe, and you have a fairly, well, I say fairly restful night. It's probably the event's still going through your mind.
To be fair, I'm going to be trying to. I'm not going to go to sleep too quick and easy. I want to keep an eye out for a bit.
Okay.
Having an idea about what these kind of guys would be doing. I want to see whether I could potentially spot any of them trying to either stake us out or are keeping an eye on us. So effectively, I'm going to be trying to do this one from the window, trying to be as subtle as I can so they don't know that it's exactly what I'm doing. But
I like it. Make me a spot hidden roll, please, Denver.
absolutely.
Nice, very nice.
Extreme success.
You spend most of the night looking from the window, but as far as you can see, you can see almost you're peering at everyone who walks past. No one is paying any undue attention to the hotel room. As far as you can see, there's no one sits, no one stopping to stare.
Oh, that's at least good. Perhaps we don't need to worry too much about them as I thought.
The 20th of January dawns, and I have it in my notes, and apparently this is a real thing. This is one of the worst blizzards New York has ever had.
No.
So, traffic almost comes to a standstill. You can barely see 5 feet in front of you. Everything is just white. So what I'm going to say is, whereas before, or normally you would have morning, afternoon, and evening activities, today you only get one. You only get one activity today.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's a blizzard. A shop run by an African person is probably not open. Not much snow in Africa.
Well, you do get Tim. I'll give it to Tim. Tim, you do get a call up from receptions. Mr. Sullivan, I have a Mr. Kensington on the phone for you.
Oh yes. Put him through.
Mr. Sullivan, this is Jonah Kensington. We talked last night.
Yes.
I thought you might like to know I've been in contact with Erica Carlyle's lawyer, Bradley Gray, and she's agreed to see you today, if you can get here.
Excellent. Well, as
Just
many of us will try to get there as possible.
just a word of advice. Watch yourself around her. She's got a sharp mind. Just stay on your guard around her. That's my advice. Click.
Yes, of course.
A woman with a sharp mind.
Sharp mind. Heard of a sharp tongue, a sharp mind. That's a new one. Then again, I suppose in my profession we don't come across them too much. No offense to you, lots of course.
Is that well? I should ask what you're planning to do today, but if that's what everybody's happy to do today,
Yeah, sounds good.
That makes sense.
it takes you most of the morning. The Westchester County estate
Just
is
stick
half.
around just in case.
Sorry, so who's going? Who's sticking around?
Oh, no. I want to stick around with you lot just in case.
Okay.
If it was an easier day, I'd...
Oh, hello.
But, no, I'd definitely be sticking with you lot if you're all going off to the same place. I want to keep an eye out for this captain and whichever goons he might be sending our way.
So,
Sounds sensible.
The Westchester County estate is usually half an hour north of New York City on the Hudson River. On a day like today, it probably takes you more like 2 to 2.5 hours to get there, so it's probably getting on towards noontime by the time you arrive there. It's a very grand estate, completely different from the houses of New York that you've seen, the buildings in New York that you've seen. You arrive at the Carlyle estate, and you are met at the door by this person who introduced himself as Bradley Gray, Miss Carlyle's lawyer. He says, Good morning, gentlemen. Bradley Gray of Dunstan, Whitterby and Gray Solicitors. Miss Carlyle is prepared to see you. It sounded from Mr. Kensington as if it was a matter of some import. Please come this way. And he leads you through.
Yes, of course.
He leads you through a grand house to the office where Erica Carlyle is sitting, and this is what Erica Carlyle looks like. She stands behind a desk, and unlike your previous friends, Carlton Ramsey and Jonah Kensington, she does not offer you any drink or any sort of refreshment. Instead, she gets straight to the point. Gentlemen, my time is precious. Mr. Kensington said you had some matter to discuss with me. You have 5 minutes. What do you want?
Well, I suppose we can cut straight to the case. We want to do a couple of things here. Number one, I personally had like to take a look into Mr. Carlyle's safe. Apparently there's some books pertaining to some interest with Jackson Elias, and that is of interest to us.
And why would I do that?
We have information about your brother's death, and we are looking into it.
Really? What more can you tell me about my brother's death?
Right now, not much, but we have leads to follow, and one of those is whatever books are in his safe.
Again, I ask you, why should I even give you any more of my time?
Don't you want to know what happened?
I know what's happened. He was murdered in Kenya.
That's not what the authorities say. Why are you so sure?
I went out there looking for him. I spent quite a lot of money to get to Kenya. Quite a lot of money to investigate where the authorities failed, and they found the ones responsible. Because of my intervention, they found the ones responsible and made sure they paid the price.
And
who
who
were
was
they?
it that was responsible?
It was a group of tribesmen. They slaughtered them. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, that's where the matter stops.
And what evidence did you have that it was them?
It was in all the papers at the time. Didn't you read the papers?
Excuse me, but when it comes down to it, I'm not necessarily on the highest class. I'm sure my fellows probably have, but for my own sake, I'm asking you, please. What evidence did you come across to make the difference? I'm very interested. Because you seem to be a rather smart lady, and when it comes down to it, I believe that maybe you have a bit of information that will help us with Jackson Elias as well.
Look,
So,
I don't know. I
what
read
did
about.
you find?
I don't know anything about Jackson Elias, and quite frankly, I put my brother's death behind me. And if you knew what he was like, you probably would too.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? You want to know what my brother was like? He
Please.
nearly ruined our business interests.
Mm-hmm.
He drained them of operating capital. He took as much money as he could out of them. He mistreated, he misused it, he misappropriated funds. I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't even give me his say in it. He wouldn't let me take any part in it. He nearly ruined me too.
Chauvinist?
Heh. I suppose that's one word for it. But now I'm in charge, and let me tell you, things are getting better, and I don't want to risk that for anybody.
Alright. Well, if you're so far behind it, you've got it in your past, and surely you don't care about the books which are in that safe. They're nothing more than a nasty reminder, and we can take them out of your perspective. You wouldn't have to worry about them. We'd potentially be leaving you alone.
Denver Smith, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, make me your choice of charm or persuade.
Oh, God.
I say I can't believe I'm saying this because normally it's intimidate.
Yeah, I know.
And
Charm
I am
and persuade are hardly my best options. Heck, fast talk is better than...
or fast
Okay.
talk. If you want to do fast talk, yep. If you want to...
Alright, I'll try with a fast talk. I don't think I'll be doing with any charm or persuasion.
We can't
With
offer an
fast talk.
assist at all.
How would you like to assist? If you do, how would you like to assist?
Well, I've been talking to her as well.
To be fair, when it comes down to it, I could make a point and you could just basically follow on from it. I'm just blathering at this point.
Yeah, how did she just so she didn't seem receptive to we can
She
get
just-
out of your hair.
Yeah, it's just like, get out of my hair, I don't want to deal with this. I
Yeah,
tell
we
you,
don't really have anything we can offer her. This lady's rich. I can't use credit.
Money's not the trick when it comes down, is it?
Mm.
I'm no good at dealing with the rich people, for crying out loud.
Well,
I
I tell
don't
you
want to
what,
help anyone.
I tell you what, the three of you, Tim Sullivan, Flintlock, and Eckhart Metz, make me psychology rolls. Make me psychology rolls. Dear.
Gotta find it.
I'm a
Oh, damn.
psychiatrist, not a
Oh, no.
sake. Come on.
Metz, do you want to spend luck on that?
11 luck. Oh god, we do really need these. I think we
do.
can.
This is our main lead. We need to really follow it.
I tell you what.
I don't spend luck. Fine. Spend 11 luck. I'm not happy about it.
Metz,
That's a pass.
Metz, when when Denver mentioned about the books in the safe, saw her face change ever so slightly for a moment, as if it's like the facade dropped a bit.
Miss Carlyle, the books in that safe, they're strange, aren't they?
And you can see like her face cracking a little bit again, and goes, "They are somewhat strange, yes. They're not my
Boring,
kind of books at all.
occult, esoteric.
Yeah, yes, I suppose you could say that, yes. But
You don't want anything to do with this. I can assure you.
I'm gonna ask.
Let us take them off your hands.
I'm gonna ask Metz to make me a persuade roll now, please.
God, okay. Hey!
Take it. We'll take it.
Thank God for that. I was going to get to the point of sod it. Intimidate the hell out of it. It's like, right, that's just it. You don't care.
She kind of collapses into her chair. Look. I'll make you a deal, okay? I tell you anything you want to know. I answer your questions, and you never bother me again. Is that a deal?
Deal.
Very well then. Ask your questions.
Can we see the books?
In this safe.
Books.
I'll let you talk to the intellectual if you let me look at those bloody books.
Books. That's... that Benet woman. It's that Benet woman. She got him those books. Come on then. I'll take
Benet?
you. Sorry, what was that?
I said, where are they?
Sorry, Flint said something as well.
I just said Benet woman.
I was going to say Benet or Vernay.
Benet. B-U-N-A-Y. Yeah, the chunk of Benet, she said her name was. Some from Africa, I believe. I don't know how they met, but she met him. He called her his African queen, and she got her claws into him. Started to rule his life. And he had nightmares as well. I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but he had nightmares, and I recommended he see a specialist.
And who was that?
One of our own acquaintances, Dr. Robert Houston. I thought it would cure him. I thought Houston would cure him of it, but he played into it as well. And suddenly, Roger decided that he had to go on an expedition. I thought it'd help him. I thought he'd come to his senses, but yeah, she got into his head, she got into his mind, and Houston just made it worse.
What was it? Something Houston?
Dr. Robert Houston.
Right. Do I know this guy?
Do you
Have I
know
met
this
him in
guy directly?
conversation?
The answer would be no,
Okay.
but make me a knowledge roll, education roll.
Okay. We're gonna go around, baby. Okay. Sorry, you just slipped off. That's a success.
May I direct your attention to the handout entitled Carlyle Expedition Leaves for England?
Carlyle Expedition Leaves for England.
Oh.
Where am I looking? Also on the team is the city's most sought-after Freudian Dr. Robert Houston. Dr. hopes the expedition might find ancient pictographic evidence to substantiate some of his theories regarding psychology. Oh, so he's a kook. Oh. Kirsten went on the expedition himself, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
She did, along with those other people, Sir Aubrey Pendew and one of Roger's old flames, Hypatia Masters. I thought Jack Brady would be able to keep them safe, obviously not. I've got a picture of them here, actually. They took a picture before they left on the expedition. I've got a picture here. And she's like directing you on the way to the library at this point, I think. And she's like, I've got a picture of them here, and there's a picture that it's not framed up or anything, she digs it out, and this is the picture that she shows you. That's them.
Funny looking bunch.
That's the expedition. But she, pointing to the woman at the back, she was the one behind it all. Benet was the one behind it all.
And why do you think she wanted them to go on the expedition then?
Probably some mumbo jumbo, or she saw a way to get money out of him. I don't know what it is.
Mumbo jumbo is a very loaded term.
Anyway, to the library. I'll just give you a bit of artwork for this.
Oh.
Give it to you yet. She takes you to the library, and it's a vast library. Tons of books everywhere. Some knickknacks here and there. There's a high Victorian fireplace. There's billiards table. Looking around, you see works by Trollope, Charles Dickens, Francis Parkman, Wild Frodo Emerson, George Washington Cable. A shelf dedicated to the works of Edgar Allan Poe, and it's to this shelf that she goes. And she picks up a particularly large book of Poe's collected poems, and behind that is a safe.
Oh.
And fiddles with the lock on the safe, and she opens it.
I was going to say, can Flint try and get the see if he can make out what the combination is?
Make me a spot hidden roll. I'll ask for a spot hidden roll for that. I'll ask for a hard spot hidden roll. What did you get?
Give me 2 seconds.
Success.
Just a regular.
Okay. It's a bit too fast for you to notice. But the safe is open, and inside you can see 4 books. And she says to you, I'm going back to my office now. I realise that the weather outside is somewhat unfavourable. You are welcome to stay here as long as you wish. However, I must ask that you do not go anywhere else in the house, and I ask that you do not bother me again, please. But you may stay here as long as you wish.
Yes, of course.
And with that, she leaves.
Alright. How many books are there?
4.
You see 4 books inside. Do you wish to examine them?
Damn it, it's 5 of us. Can't have a book each.
I was going to say, let's pull them out and take a look.
Yeah, definitely.
The first
Do we have to roll anything?
Not at the moment, no. You can quite clearly see the books. The books are the narcotic manuscripts, Sélection de livres divins, Amongst the Stones, and Life as a God. Do you want me to read those out again?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Put them in chat, maybe.
I will put them in chat.
I was going to say, yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Thank you.
The narcotic manuscript.
One of those was in Latin. I have a bit of Latin, and I rolled to see if I know what it means.
I'll tell you which one is in Latin in a moment.
Selection of something.
Selections, dear.
Does anybody else have Latin?
No.
Maybe.
No.
I can imagine Solomon having it.
No, it's English and French.
Ah, okay. I'll do my best.
Yvonne. Amongst the stones.
Oh no,
Like
that is French.
Where's
I was
this
about
going
to
in these
say,
books?
It's going in.
Geneva?
It's
That's
going in the
French.
roll 20 chat.
Oh, the roll 20
Yeah.
chat. I'm looking at the wrong windows. Sorry.
Are they saying when it comes down as well? Are there any authors' names on the titles?
Yes. If you pick
Ooh,
one,
good question.
if you pick one, you'll get some. If you pick one, there'll be some information about it.
All right. I'm gonna immediately pull out Amongst the Stones.
Amongst the stones, I'll show this to you.
Ooh.
So,
All right.
Hmm.
English by Justin Jeffrey, 1918. Handwritten, containing poems later found in People of the Monolith, published 1926. Bound in the skin of a hunting horror, whatever that is. Although several of the verses contained within the skin volume are identical to those which appear in Jeffrey's later published work, some are early versions which see heavy revision prior to their official publication by Erebus Press, Monmouth, Illinois. Others are unique to this manuscript. It's a series of poems of strange and weird subjects. Anybody else like to pick? Anybody else like to pick a book?
Yes. Selections de Levron de Yvonne.
Very well. This is French commentary on Latin original by Gaspard du Nord around the 13th century.
Oh, thank God. Sorry, one thing which seeing the picture of Amongst the Stones and I'm now seeing the picture of
It's just
Solutions. I was like,
Generic
Jesus,
creepy
what
books, don't
book am
worry.
I read?
generic
I was going
mysterious
to ask you
book.
about the symbols in a minute.
Octavo, which is about 6 inches by 9 inches. Handwritten manuscript bound in decaying blue calfskin. Supposedly copied by Du Nord from an earlier Greek manuscript. Only 13 specimens, partial complete, are now known to exist. Although the original manuscripts on which Du Nord based this work may have come to the Aveyron region directly from Atlantis, it has been conjectured that, purely by chance, it's made its way to France via ancient Egypt.
Alright, so that's got the YouTube side of things.
Anybody else?
I'll definitely have a look at Life is Gone.
See, we've got to slowly pull them all out when it's over anyway.
Oh
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, got a fancy book. Right.
English by Montgomery Compton,
Ooh.
around 1810. Duodecimo, which is, according to my thing here, 5 inches by 7.5 inches. Handwritten, bound in human skin, no less. The only copy of a diary by English artist Compton, who came to Egypt in 1805 and became a minor priest of the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh. Compton was insane by the time he wrote this diary, meaning that much of it is incoherent.
I do have a point to make. Ms. Carlyle said that her brother called his girlfriend his African queen, and we know that Jackson Elias referred to the big bad as the Black King. So maybe a connection there.
Also coming along with the whole Black Pharaoh and the Black Sphinx.
Flint.
Or the Black Quartz Sphinx.
Flint, do you want to have a look at the... Do you want to try your luck with the last one? The necrotic manuscript?
Yeah, go on then. Might as well.
It's in English, so that's a plus. Author and translator unknown. 15th century quarto, which is quite big actually, 9.5 inches by 12 inches, so it's a foot tall. Embossed red
That is
leather
big.
binding at a later date to the original manuscript. 5 bound manuscript versions, partial copies greater now lost, of this book are catalogued in Europe and America, at least one of which resides at Miskatonic University. Another is rumoured to be held by the New York Public Library. The precursor volume, the Narcotica, was written in classical Greek and contained stories of Hyperia, Atlantis and Jupiter. That book may trace its origins to pre-human crinoids who seeded life on Earth. So, would you like to spend some time studying these, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who would like to go first?
I'm not scared. I'll go ahead.
And you had Amongst the Stones?
Amongst the Stones.
Okay. So, it is a series of poems. It is a strange work. Although one of the poems that jumps out at you is called The Trappings of a Queen. And it references artifacts. Artifacts relating to the Egyptian ruler Queen Nyarlathotep. It references the crown of Nyarlathotep, the girdle of Nyarlathotep, and the necklace of Nyarlathotep.
Yeah.
Denver, your Cthulhu mythos rating increases by +1
Oh,
for reading this.
Cthulhu increased by +1. Okay.
However, reading this does open your mind to possibilities it was previously unaware of. Can you roll me a D3?
Alright. Oh, hang on a second. What's the code again? It's
Slash roll. Slash roll
slash roll
1d3.
this 1d3.
1 point of sanity. You lose 1 point of sanity for that.
What was the Egyptian queen called again? Sorry, Jeff.
Nyarlathotep. I'll put that in the chat.
Nyarlathotep.
Why does that name sound so familiar?
Sounds very close to nitrous.
And I'll just put these in the chat as well. The artifacts it mentioned were the crown of Nyarlathotep.
I thought
I appreciate that.
I thought I recognized that name.
Where
Uh-huh.
from?
Like Tokris, an actual Egyptian queen, last queen of the 6th dynasty. Her husband was Merenre II.
Ooh.
9.
And those are the 3 artifacts
Right.
mentioned in that poem.
For the sake of what it mentions in that poem, does it mention a use of these items, or it
Not-
just mentions them?
It mentioned them in great detail as part of the person of Nyarlathotep, but not really like any sort of practical use that you can see. They just like it's just like a description more than anything
So
else.
just a vivid description of sorts.
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually got the notes on the description here if you want them, if you'd like to.
Aye.
So the crown of Nyarlathotep is a jet black circlet topped with a cut gem that, to the untrained eye, looks like a large diamond. The crown is made from an alloy of zirconium and iron blackened with age. Its gem is a zircon of unusual size and rarity. The girdle of Nyarlathotep.
Okay.
A narrow band of intricately linked gold chain with what appears to be a large carbuncle-cut ruby marking the clasp. The ruby is particularly unusual in that it displays an asterism, meaning that it has a 6-pointed star on its surface.
Right.
Sorry, you said the necklace was a diamond?
The crown. Oh, let me finish up here. The
The
necklace
necklace.
is a long silver chain decorated with small emerald beads and a large square emerald pendant, carved with an image of the Black Sphinx.
Ah, okay. Well, the woman in the picture for the Carlyle Expedition is wearing a necklace, but it's not that necklace.
So, as Denver reads and absorbs this knowledge, who would like to go next?
What was on the ruby clasp? Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry, I'll close that one now. Ruby clasp, that was girdle, wasn't it? That was on the girdle.
Yeah.
That was the girdle.
Yeah.
Had the clasp, yep.
Yeah, and it had a star or something, did it?
Yes, the ruby had a
Engraved.
star on it, yep. Yep.
And what was on the diamond? Did the circlet?
This crown of Nitocris. It was a jet black circlet cut with topped with a cut gem that looks like a large diamond
Right.
crown.
Okay.
Okay. Who would like to go next with their book?
I will.
The selection.
Yeah, I mean, since this one is in French and Latin, and we speak those, I think we need to read this one together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You start reading the book, The Selections Deliverer Evom, and its focus appears to be the worship of a deity called Sathogua.
Can you spell that out, please?
I'll write that out. Yes, this is a good one to spell.
And I'm gonna try and get it without looking.
That is a good spelling.
Wow.
Yes, I got it.
As you look through the book, though, you see what looks like illustrations on the margin. Looks like they've been added afterwards, of an inverted broken ankh, A-N-K-H, an inverted broken ankh,
Oh.
and some notes discussing the enmity between a deity called Paz Luza and a deity called Nodens, which may sound familiar to some players of a different game.
Sorry, say them again.
A deity called Paz Luza and a deity called Nodens.
Nodens, yeah. That's Gulf of Nodens, isn't it?
Yep, that's the one, yep.
And that got a reaction from Sarah.
I'm going to give this one to Tim because he's the primary one reading this. Tim, your Cthulhu mythos increases by 4 percentiles.
Oh. By 4?
Yeah, so change to edit mode and add 4 to your Cthulhu mythos.
Hmm.
However, the cost for this is quite high. Tim, can you roll me 2d4, please?
Oof, that is quite high.
Slash
Roll
roll
though.
2d4.
No.
7.
Low. No.
Okay, so first of all, reduce your sanity score by 7.
Yeah,
And-
jeez.
I would like you to make me an intelligence roll, please.
Okay.
Oh,
Try
God.
and fail it.
I'm obsessed with the idea that Tim Sullivan
Uh,
stands up and headbutts someone.
Intelligence, you said?
Yes, please. Oh,
Oof,
I'm gonna
that's not good.
pick one for you actually. Because I'm gonna pick one for you. I'm gonna say that your hand goes limp. You're reading this book and your hand goes limp. You can't feel your fingers. The book drops to the floor, and for the next few minutes you can't move your hands. However, because you have gone temporarily insane from a Cthulhu a mythos source, you can add another 5 to your Cthulhu mythos score. So
Another 5.
you actually got 9 out of this, yeah.
And I don't get anything?
Yours is coming.
Not fair.
Yours is coming. Don't worry.
Oh god. Okay.
Go on, I'll go next.
Any more sanity I need to remove?
No, that's it. I think that's it. That's it for now. Yep.
Sorry. So what were those other two cards? It was Nodin.
Nodens. I'll put these in the chat as well.
Thank you.
There's a lot of big names coming out at the minute.
Yeah.
Alvareza and Nodens.
Has loser.
Yeah.
No dens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Flint. This is quite hard to read. It's quite hard to understand. But from what you can gather, the manuscripts talk about an ancient race, a great race, who had a gargantuan city out in the western desert of Australia. And it talks about this city, this great race. Now you can see there's a few scribbled footnotes as well. You can't tell, it's a different handwriting to the rest of the book on the existence of the city, on the existence of the city of the great race. And there's also scribbled notes on how to contact the mind of the observer.
That doesn't sound ominous at all.
I think it's had whole statement before of, is he in your mind? Is he in the head?
Okay.
Flint, for that, your Cthulhu Mythos score increases. Your Cthulhu Mythos score increases by 3.
So I've gone up to 10.
And the cost for that is a D8 on your sanity.
Ooh, right. That's quite a lot.
Mm.
Six. Flint, you need to make an intelligence roll now.
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Oh no.
For crying out loud.
Yes.
That's a success.
Ooh, I think Flint would. What do you think Flint would do? Do you think violent behaviour is a suitable reaction for Flint?
I mean, it's what he's done in the past.
Oh.
I'll say that it's you start beating the wall of the room you're in quite hard, quite heavily.
But the moment you start doing that, I'm going to be trying to grab you.
And you also get have you taken a +5 previously in your Cthulhu Mythos? I think you have, haven't you? So I don't know if you're already at 7.
Not this. I was at 7.
Okay, so you
So
must
I've
have
gone up to 10.
Okay, so let me see. What was the?
I don't know when, but
The Figueroa book would have given you some, I think. Let me just see how much that would have given you. That would have given you +1. So I'm going to say add +2 to your Cthulhu Mythos because I think you've already taken a +5 on it.
on top of the 10.
On top of on top of the 3 you've got, add another 2.
Yeah. Cool. I'm rocking a 12 there on my Cthulhu Mythos.
And which leaves us with Professor Metz and Life as a God.
Oh, right, yeah, there's one for each of us.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for having a straw earlier, I can't count.
Metz, this book
Yes.
narrates all manner of unspeakable acts committed for the Pharaoh of Darkness. And there's actually a page to read for this. I'm going to share it for Metz to read.
Its external angles were magnificent and most strange. By the hideous beauty I was enraptured and enthralled, and I thought to myself, the daylight fools who adjudged the housing of this room as mistaken. I laughed for the glories they missed. Through the twisted door to the jeweled throne of darkness, I came with all reverence and humility, to gaze upon scenes of celestial majesty and rebirth. When the 6 lights were lit and the great word said, then he came, in all the grace and splendor of the high plains, and I longed to sever my veins so that my life might flow into his being and make me part of a god.
Lovely.
Professor Metz, your Cthulhu Mythos score increases by 2.
Cthulhu Mythos increases by 2.
And your penalty is a d6.
Alright.
Oh.
He just doesn't give a shit about anything. Like, that's I'm on 63 out of 64. I've seen one of my colleagues get murdered.
I think Flint's hammering of the walls of the room. Mr. Bradley is at the door. Bradley Gray appears at the door. He's somewhat concerned about Flint's actions, but Flint, you calm down after a minute or so, and he says to you, Miss Carlyle has instructed me that she has no use for these books. If you wish to, you may take them with you when you leave.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
And with that, it's coming towards the evening of the 20th.
I was going to say, Flint is going whenever we get into the back to the hotel. Flint will be putting it in whatever the equivalent of the mini bar is.
Brilliant. Okay, so we come to the end of the 20th. You make your way, again it's another painstaking journey back down to New York. The blizzard has stopped, but there's still snow everywhere. And I imagine your sleep that night is quite restless, concerning what's just taken place.
Aye.
I think Matt smokes something illegal to help him get to sleep.
I think Flint would possibly not end up sleeping.
I love it.
I'm already going through, if nothing else. A direct attack against the Black King would be insane. Pawn sacrifice is the safest move. A direct attack against the Black King would be insane. As if that would stop whomever. So who is the great deceiver?
The next day dawns, the 21st of January dawns, and it's over to you guys. What do you wish to do?
I think we need to find that psychiatrist.
He's dead.
He was in the Carlyle Expedition.
Are all the ones
next of kin.
It's one of those bits. I know I came into this late. There's no one alive after that expedition.
I think so. I think they all died in Africa. The contention's just about when they died.
Oh no. They're still alive. They are alive.
Oh shit.
They are alive.
Oh, where's the bastard?
The great deceiver. Maybe that's what Jackson's going on about. But how do we find him if they are? And what on earth do we start looking for? Jesus.
Do we need to go to Kenya?
I don't know whether Kenya's the right idea. After all, one in Australia. They were talking about Lass.
What the locals?
I was going to say, there are other places where the expedition went first.
I may not be the Mind you, those
brightest
books.
tool in this shed.
No.
But is it? What's that saying? Being forearmed with knowledge is forewarned, or whatever.
Hmm.
Or is it the other way around? As I say, thinking isn't my strong suit.
Mind you, the other side of things, trying to gain whatever information we can is important. And I'm sure of those books, am I not mistaken, had quite a little connection with Egypt.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should start by following the trail that they took.
That's what I was thinking, Tim.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Let's follow the breadcrumbs.
But we do still have a lot of loose ends
Hmm.
in this concrete jungle as well. Bless you.
Thank you.
You might be able to find where Houston was working.
Right.
That'd be good stuff.
Hmm.
Well, there was mention in that book that I read that there was copies found of the 5 manuscripts found in the Miskatonic and University and New York Public Library.
Hmm.
And there was another volume mentioned called the Narcotica, and but that's in Greek, which I know is not a language I know. So unless one of you guys know it, we may need a translator.
There would be somebody at Miskatonic who would be able to help us.
I certainly think so.
So, once again, what would you like to do?
Pardon me. Right, so I'm guessing you're saying about going to the library?
To be fair, my first priority is still going to that African shop. Bless you.
There you go.
So, what are your plans for the morning?
Well, you were saying an African shop, right?
I would love to go there as my first priority. And then after that, I'm open.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Juju house sounds good.
Sounds like a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put us to another map in that case.
Battle map.
Battle map, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Wait for this to load.
I was going to say it could still be a battle map.
Just very large
citywide.
battle map.
This is a really big battle.
Don't think the Juju house is on here particularly, but
Okay.
you do travel to Harlem, and you do. It's quite easy to find the Juju. It's fairly easy to find the Juju house. It's the entrance to the Juju house is in the courtyard. There are buildings on around the sides. It's very like I say poor area of the city. But the
Okay.
you find that there's a display window. There's a glass door. Both got curtains across, so you can't see inside the shop. And in the display window, you see genuine pieces of African art. And if you look closely, you see that they are genuine pieces of African art. And there's a handwritten card propped up in the window. The opening hours are 9 AM to 5 PM. Closed on Sundays with lunch between 12 and 1 PM.
Is it a Sunday?
It's a Wednesday now, I think, actually.
January 21st, 1925. Day.
It's a Wednesday, yep. Wednesday the 21st, yep. So, what do you wish to do?
Timings.
Okay, yeah, I guess I will try and open the door.
The door opens quite easily. It's like probably got like a little bell inside that goes ding-a-ling.
Ding.
The shop is quite small, only 15 feet by 20 feet. It's full of artwork, African tribal artifacts and bric-a-brac, devil masks, leather-headed drums, stuffed model giraffes, carved wildebeests, display weapons, ivory warthogs. Quite dark inside, and behind the counter at the front, you see this man dressed in what appears to be a red robe. He is a shriveled old African-American man, wrapped in a red blanket. And when you enter, he looks up and he greets you, and you see he's all gums. He has no teeth, with a toothless smile.
Hello, sir. I assume Silas
welcome to the
Nkwame?
Juju shop. Yes, I am Silas Nkwame. How may I help you today?
Yes, well, my associate, Dr. Mordecai Lemming, said that this was a place of much interest, and says that I should definitely come and come down.
Dr. Lemming is a good customer. Yes. Is there anything in particular you are looking for?
We are mostly interested in Egyptian and Kenyan art and artifacts. If that's anything that you could help us with.
I have plenty of that here. Please feel free to browse.
Thank you.
I think you're probably the closest to him at this stage, Professor Metz. Can you make me a spot hidden roll, please?
Oh, I'm not very good at that. Just a success.
You see
41 against 45.
You see he has like a leather thong around his neck, which appears to hold some sort of brass key.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes, please take your time. I am here to help.
Thank you. You wouldn't know anything about sort of symbology in the region, would you? I'm sort of trying to learn more about the religious practices, and I think I will like sketch out some of the like symbols and stuff that we've been encountering.
Okay.
That upside down ankh, the sort of like, oh, it's this way, not this way. I'm trying to think what else. There was a few sort of weird bits and pieces in the pictograph from Elias's notes. I'll just sort of show him, like, do you recognize any of these? They keep coming up and we're not sure what they mean.
I see many icons and religious symbols in my work, as you can see looking around the shop here. I wouldn't be able to tell you, exactly what a specific one means, at least not without some research. I may be able to find out for you, but apart from that, I might not be that much help to you.
Okay, so he wasn't sure.
Yeah, he wasn't sure, yeah.
Okay, but it's also promising to me that he didn't like recoil in horror.
That's true.
You know, like these are clearly obscure. They're not something that even somebody who appears to be sort of somewhat steeped in sort of possibly African occult. He's not necessarily. Well, can I do a psychology roll? Do I get the impression that he's?
Oh, make a psychology roll, yes, please. Yeah.
I take him at face value.
I think that's fair.
Okay, so I actually find that quite reassuring. Even useful, but it is reassuring.
Okay. Please, take your time. I'm here to help. If you have any questions or wish to buy anything, please let me know. And looking around the shop, nothing. I won't say anything jumps out at you. Sorry, Denver.
I was gonna say, just what you got anything like black sphinx or a black king?
Black Sphinx, Black King.
Black Pharaoh specifically.
That I'm not an expert, sir, but I believe that is Egypt, and my province is Kenya.
I just thought that maybe there was a connection.
I do believe there is another shop in New York, Mr. Lester Goodman. He may be able to
No,
help
we
you.
know him.
Maybe it's about time we take another note over there as well.
So you say you're from Kenya. Tell me, where exactly were you in 1898?
I don't think we need to worry about that side of things.
Between March and December specifically.
Tim, you're getting a bit worried here. I understand you. Sorry, Silas. Let me just take this one aside for a moment here. I think
He just like still grinning at you, like that toothless grin at you. It's just like.
I know that we think that there's a lot of people on the inside here, Tim, but it does not necessarily mean that we need to start asking everyone that. Plus, we don't want people getting already full answering them questions and all.
I'm just curious if he was around when the Salvo man-eaters were,
Alright.
you know, having their reign of
Okay.
terror.
All right, maybe he does not show that. In which case, we get some first-hand knowledge. In which case, okay. All right, fine. Silas.
Yes, sir.
Tim does have a question or two in regards to your history, if you'd be so kind.
1898, you
yeah.
say?
Yes, between March and December, would you happen to know anything about the Salvo man-eaters?
Sir, my memory is not what it once was. You understand. I am old, and a lot of my life is lost to the mists of time. Tim, make me a psychology roll. Oh. Again, you can't. He just like has this open, presumably honest face, and you can't really catch him out in any sort of lie.
All right then. Would you happen to have met John Henry Patterson at all?
You are testing my knowledge here, Brian. Again, he just like, name is not familiar to me, so if I did meet him.
Would be all then.
Is there any interesting trinkets or bric-a-brac or books in the shop that
To be
catch
honest-
Flint's eye?
To be honest, not really. Not really.
Oh no. Excuse me.
Any interesting animal pelts?
Hyena, maybe?
Probably hyena, probably wildebeest, probably giraffe. There's stuffed giraffes around.
Hmm.
You like I see you like I see you like collecting animal pelts, sir.
Yes.
Judging by
This
that-
is one of my finest trophies, and he kind of shows off his hood a bit. How did you come across these fine specimens?
They were sent. I get a lot of my goods through Emerson Imports. They have more details about it. They have probably more to do. They're very good. They keep me supplied quite well.
Hmm. And are these the actual real stuffed animals or taxidermied animals, or are they
As far as I can
good
tell,
fakes?
sir. As far as I can tell, they're the real thing, sir.
Would Flint be able to tell?
Maybe would that be natural world? I think.
That's one that Flint's good at. I've lost my sheet, I believe.
He better be. Imagine if he's been faking it all this time. He like bought that pal.
Oh no!
Oh, Flynn.
Oh,
Hmm.
They look real. Unless you want to spend
fair
luck,
enough.
they look real.
I'm tempted, but
They do. Look
Just for your pride.
real.
Mr. Muhammad, if I could ask, I've been reading some things from sort of contemporaries in Nairobi specifically, and I've heard of a location perhaps. I'm not sure if it is metaphorical or literal. The Mountain of Black Wind. Would you understand what that was referring to?
I believe I've heard some tales of such a thing. But I've been away from my homeland for quite a while. There are some myths and legends, I believe.
As have I.
There are some myths and I've heard some myths and legends about such a place, but I could not tell you for certain.
Okay, so it's not, sort of a local landmark or anything like that. That is interesting. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Please come again. You're always welcome here.
I'll buy some trinket or other that I can just like put up in my office. Back
Of course,
back at work.
And as you leave the Juju house, it is the afternoon of the 21st of January. I think that's where we're going to leave it for this evening. Give
okay.
you some time to plan next moves.
Excellent, thank you.
So some fun stuff happening tonight.
Oh,
Let's do our stars and our wishes. Start with Kieran. What was your stars and wishes for tonight?
I think my favorite moment of the night was Ben's realization that they are still alive is probably referring to the Carlyle Expedition. That was just such a beautiful moment. It's like pure realization. I love that. And wishes. I wish I hadn't failed that psychology check. I hate spending luck. I hate it. Like,
oh, brilliant!
It makes me feel so vulnerable.
Robin.
Yeah, I'd probably say Ben's realization of the Carlyle Expedition being still alive. And wishes. I don't trust this Silas and Quane. I think there's something more going on here.
He's my new best friend.
I'm interested to find out what happens.
Professor Metz is like, yeah, this guy's. Professor Metz is like, yeah, this guy's fine. He's great. We're best buds now.
And meanwhile, Flint's just like,
Brian?
Yeah, just jumping on the bandwagon. Ben's realization that they're still alive. And wishes. I don't know. Maybe that'll be more use in the next one because I've been a bit quiet this time. But
don't worry. Yeah, it. Sometimes you do. Sometimes it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, but I suppose me referencing the Salvo man-eaters might have been nice dressed.
Yeah. However, it's all good as long as you're enjoying yourself. And
yeah.
Ben.
Well, to carry on with the side of things, realizing that maybe that they might be alive, That was certainly. I mean, especially for the sake of, I love problem and puzzle solving and stuff like that. So, code breaking, if it coming across that one of it, was, oh my god! It immediately is sold out. Yes. Because I was trying to figure out how that one went in a few times. I want more of that stuff, to be fair. To be fair, though, one thing was like, I was expecting more codes. I don't know why I was expecting more codes.
Oh dear. For me, my favourite moment was a Ben moment, but it wasn't a realization. However, that was good. It was Ben reading out the London notes. As soon as I saw those in the book and I was putting those into Roll20, I thought to myself, I want Ben to read this out because I know he's going to do a fantastic
This
job
man's
of it.
crazy.
Because he's going to do a fantastic job of it, and that was everything I hoped it would be.
I must say as well, going with that though, I long to see what exactly the little pattern. I mean, I already sort of etched it down, but what relevance that has. Because I really want to know what relevance that has. Because I can't help but feel like, especially reading back, because I've been going back to that note in particular. It's like, well, okay, now that makes sense. Now this part makes sense. When does this make sense?
And
So, for that.
Wishes, I think everybody's really good. It's one of those. It's been one of those sessions where there's been a lot of stuff found out, and a lot of light bulbs have gone off. A lot of connections have been made, which I really love. I really love the sanity shredding of the reading all the books in the library. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was just great. I always love sanity. I always love when sanity gets shredded. Wishes. Yeah, more. You guys are really engaging with this really well. I couldn't ask for more of that, and let's keep going. More, I guess.
Yeah.
More. With that, we'll bring this episode to an end. If you've enjoyed watching this episode, please do like, comment, and subscribe for more. And we will see you next time. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.